The last section sort of summarized the major literary theories of the modern age. Again, every single theory can be individually studied and researched at your own pace. You won't be tested on any of them for this course, only on the readings in the syllabus. But I did leave out one area of literary theory on purpose, only because it's really its own monster. We have already covered some of it in an earlier module. I'm referring to, of course, psychoanalysis, the most famous subgenre to the genre being based on the works of Sigmund Freud. Again, I don't particularly abide by Freud's theories. His ideas have more than its fair share of baggage. But Bruno Bienenheim is a Freudian, and it's his essay that you will soon be tested on. I'll explain my issues with Bienenheim in the next module, but it's most important that you read his essay first because it presents a sample approach which illustrates how you can analyze children's literature beyond its simple narrative. However, I should point out that psychoanalysis is not just Freudian. There are two other major perspectives, all owing a similar appreciation to the Vienna Society, but takes psychoanalysis down different pathways. The first is derived from the theories by Carl Jung. Again, I will discuss his ideas in a later module when I present on an archetype of the hero's journey. But Jung believes in the collective unconscious. That is, the archetypes that we see in literature is not simply a part of structural analysis, but they are a reflection of a universal truth within us over time. So he's not talking about cultural patterns found in other countries. But all of this is internal in our imaginations. And this is why we see patterns where none exist. They are repressed memories that every person has. So Jung's view of the Oedipal complex is very much inspired by Freud's, that every straight male has dreams of sleeping with their mother, and that is part of our collective unconscious. Jung just makes this timeless. Now the other type of psychoanalysis is more complicated, and I don't think I do it justice in such a short time frame. Albeit an essential part of literary theory's diet, it is difficult to digest, and I could provide you with some links that might make it easier, but then again, it might only make it more confounded. I'm referring to the theory of Jacques Lacan. Lacan's psychoanalysis allows us to use Freudian's ideas without the sexist and perverse stigma, and this is because Lacan is really talking about language instead of sexual repression. Again, I will discuss a part of Lacanian thinking by analyzing Wordsworth's Ode. You see, like Freud, Lacan believed in the common child development, but he doesn't cover the entire 14 years of adolescence. He just focuses on the first 4 years. Lacan believed that a child, as an infant, up to about 6 months, lives in the pure materiality of existence, what he calls the real. And this is where the infant's entire existence, so far, is in complete and wonderful chaos, filled with perceptions and feelings and needs, somewhat similar to Wordsworth's interpretation of the Platonic concept of the pre-existing state. That before our birth, we are part of God's thoughts and mind, where there is no boundaries. And then when we are born, we start to forget that the pre-existing states is, quote, our dream is but a sleep and a forgetting, end quote. Then, from 6 to 18 months, we have a crisis, what Lacan refers to as the mirror stage. This is where, still an infant, approaching toddlerhood, the baby sees itself in the mirror and admires what it sees, but it also realizes that its body is clumsy, that it doesn't match up with the image. The image looks human, but the body is operating in an inappropriate or unuseful manner, and so the image or sign doesn't correspond with the self. And this is where the baby experiences admiration and frustration at the same time, disappointment and determination, to match up its own body with the image it sees. So in between 18 months and 4 years old, he processes the purpose of language. Language made up of signs becomes the child's way of comprehending the world, particularly when it comes to these differences. Sure, language is just a bunch of signifiers and poor substitutes to the actual sense of being, but it's the only thing he or she has to understand the world and its existence. And so these children's stories are attempts, substitutes, to knowing who our true selves. But we also know that these stories are not true. It is not the image that we see. Again, I'm confusing even myself. But I just wanted to address these theories because they zigzag across literary academia. So I hope you found these lessons valuable, or else it didn't scare you off too much. For now, take a breather, read, and then reread Beetleheim, which comments on children's literature, and then make sure you take the test. Once again, it's only based on content, so you can even use the book. Follow the directions, though. There are at least 3 answers to each question. And good luck.